Spiritual Teaching 239. Love each other. 1. Feel me, because in truth I am very close to you. Who is convinced of my presence? Feel deep in your heart. 2. However, once again I say to you, no one forces you to believe or follow me. The light of faith will turn on by herself, and she will bring out your love. 3. You are the favorite creature in this valley, whom I have endowed with the gift of reason, and whom I have placed in the midst of a vast world full of works, creatures, and manifestations of my power, which are testimony that who gave him the life is Almighty. 4. I granted man from the beginning freedom to think, but he has always been a slave, sometimes for him fanaticism, and other occasions of the false beliefs of Pharaoh and Caesar. Here's why: at this time, before the freedom that the Spirit is achieving, and before the clarity that presents itself to its eyes, it is dazzled, because in its mind he was not used to that freedom. 5. The man had reduced the strength of his understanding for the spiritual, and therefore fell into fanaticism. He walked down crooked paths and was like a shadow of the will of others. 6. He had lost his freedom. He was not master of himself or his thoughts. 7. But the age of light has come, the time when you have to break the chains and spread your wings to fly freely towards infinity in search of truth. 8. Spirituality is freedom. That's why those who listen to me now and have understood the meaning of this liberating doctrine, they see that vast valley open before them in which they will fight and bear witness that the time has come when God, Almighty Creator, has come to establish communication between Him and man. 9. That direct communion that men believed would be impossible between a God of all strength, wisdom, and perfection, and the human creature so full of poverty, ignorance, and sin. Yet I have realized it. I am He who has come to you. 10. Whoever imagined that man could communicate with his Lord? You thought that this only had been the privilege of the just and the prophets, of those who fell dazzled before their own views and they announced the coming of the Messiah, of those whose prayer was so deep and earnest that they reached ecstasy and could behold the divine. 11. Now there is hardness in the hearts, much disbelief in the spiritual, and men limit themselves to believing only in what they manage to understand, and what they don't, they reject, even though inside they never stop sensing the life that awaits them beyond death. 12. I give you this teaching using a human understanding like yours, so that you feel more near this word. What does it matter that I come to communicate through sinful man, if he knows how to prepare to receive me? 13. How strange is it that I communicate this way, if I also speak with you through your dreams? Yes, wherever you go, when you need me most, do I get to touch your heart with my love? There is something in you that elevates you from the world in which you live. What can it be but the Spirit that is a reflection of the divine? 14. Awake, people, understand me. Take care of my teaching and your spirit. 15. As teacher and as father, I come to you. Each lesson I give you strengthens you for the day that is approaching, because it is my will that in the midst of the chaos of ideas and doctrines, you remain serene, and be the ones who give the correct interpretation to my doctrine. 16. There are those who have been surprised because I communicate through man, and they cannot understand if it has been by will of the Father or by human will. But I tell you, it was the Master who surprised humanity, the chaste husband, who has found the virgins asleep and their lamps extinguished. 17. There are religions that try to prepare for my new coming, without knowing that I am already saying goodbye. 18. I called everyone, and in truth that my call and the rumor that I am communicating with men reach all corners of the earth, accompanied by testimonies and proofs that speak of me. regenerated sinners, unbelievers converted, dead who rise again, evicted who heal, and possessed who free themselves from their evil. 19. But I found many deaf, others puffed up in their earthly glory, and others fearful to make my manifestation as Spirit of truth. I received and taught those who came to me trusting in my love. 20. Upon reaching this source, all of you have washed yourselves of the dust that you had collected from the world, so that you would be worthy to take the bread from the table, and so that you do not stain the page of my law. 21. The hour is drawing near when the full judgment will make itself felt in the world. Every deed, word, and thought will be tried. From the great ones of the earth who rule the peoples, even the smallest will be heavy on my divine balance. 22. But do not confuse justice with vengeance, nor restitution with punishment, because I only allow you to reap the fruits of your sowing and eat them, so that you know by their taste and their effect if they are good or harmful, if you sowed well or evil. 23. The innocent blood shed by human evil, the mourning and crying of widows and orphans, the outcast who suffers misery and hunger cry out for justice. And my perfect and loving, but inexorable justice, descends on all. 24. I come to take away from man his thrones, his pride with which he challenges me, his power. I come to persuade you that he is my son and that I want him to be humble, because humble is my kingdom and I come for you to inherit it. Remember that I told you, it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich miser enter the kingdom of heaven. 25. Always be with me, and you will always have my peace. 26. Farmers, contemplate how I descend to gather the fruit that you have harvested in my countryside. 27. Although I look at some coldly, others question me with interest, and there are those who thank me because the rejoicing springs from her heart. 28. Truly I tell you, that the struggle that you have today when cultivating lands that were barren yesterday will give peace and joy to your spirit. 29. How much peace has your heart experienced after having received the weary in your arms and after having given him the light of reason, who was disturbed by his mental faculties? 30. Certainly you have needed a long time to develop your powers and gifts, because that evolution did not begin in your present material life. Fear or lack of faith still stops you from walking more firmly, although among you there are multitudes of spirits that can be called firstborn among humanity. 31. Now you are living the third era in which I have communicated through human understanding, a communication that is already at an end, but after which you will not lose me, because I am the one who is close. Those will know how to look for me and wait for me. 32. When at that time I retired to the desert, I did not hide myself from humanity. Rather, I thought of it and suffered for it. Later, when the earth was opened to be the grave of my body, I did not leave my children either, because behind the death that you gave me, my spirit arose to be in everyone as a light of redemption. 33. When I tell you that at the end of 1950 my word will cease and my spiritual world will stop speaking to you, understand that both Father as his spiritual servants will continue to watch over your life and vibrate in pursuit of humanity and all wandering spirits and those in need of light. 34. Behold, I am gifting you a New Testament, which will not suffer adulteration, because I leave it stored in the temple of your heart where I dwell. How can you then lose me if you carry me within you? 35. You will study my lessons, in which you will find justice in some, wisdom and teaching in others, consolation and balm in others, and in some also prophecy. My word is law and mandate. It is the path and goal. It is love. Watch, because in times of struggle temptations will stalk your step, And when greater is your purpose to regeneration and your consecration in mighty things, the stronger will be the voices and calls that try to separate you from the way. But temper your spirit so that you come to have the vigor and strength of good soldiers. 36. All of you feel my kiss of love and peace. 37. Rest with the Master, beloved disciples. Recreate your spirit and strengthen your body. 38. I come to shed my light on everyone without distinction of race or class, as well as on all times and all peoples. I have sent great spirits to incarnate, through whom humanity has received my divine messages, the law, the prophecies, revelations. 39. In my love for you I also became a man so that you would feel closer to me. And even though many did not recognize in Jesus, later the light was made in them. They understood their error and they loved me. 40. Again I come to give you my teaching. But now instead of becoming a man, I have come to communicate through the Spirit. 41. I find you spiritually deviated from the path, weak and sick, tired and indifferent, within a world whose science has given you a false greatness. And as you recognize that amid the splendors of your century, you have no peace, you do not yet know the spiritual, nor do you find sustenance for the heart. You turn your eyes to the infinite, questioning me about when the new apostles of peace and love will come to earth. 42. This is why I hold those whom I have called to listen to me responsible for peace, because they have been prepared by me as guardians. 43. When humanity raises its gaze to its Creator in search of forgiveness and comfort, one of the second era prophecies, then men will see my light as a saving star that will lead their steps towards the new Jerusalem, where they will find the bread of life. 44. The ringing bell has long called without rest, inviting a meeting. 45. I see sadness in your heart because you have stumbled upon disbelief, indifference and mockery, which like thistles and thorns you have felt nailed in your heart, because this pain you have received from yours, your own brothers, and also the world. 46. Do not fear, says Christ, because you are not alone. I will knock on the door of those hearts and they later will be called yours. I just want you not to hold bitterness or resentment, to watch and be prepared. 47. Your spirit is invited to my table to come and eat the delicacy of eternal life. Here at this table, it doesn't exist neither first nor last in their places. All the places that you can occupy are next to the Master. Later, when you go after men to teach, you will also have within your heart only one place to receive and love to your brothers. That time will come and you will have to get up to take the paths that lead to the great peoples of the earth, as well as the humble regions and small villages. You will see how everywhere you will find the hunger and thirst of the Spirit as a propitious land to receive your seed. 48. 1950. The year appointed for my departure draws near, and when it has passed, then the time of preparation so that then you start walking. I will mark to each one the time. I want you to start your mission. You have reached a little spiritual maturity. You are strong in faith and you know how to persevere in virtue. In your path my inspiration will accompany you, which you will receive from spirit to spirit. Then you will see how many were waiting. 49. Immense charity I poured into humanity in this third era with my communication and that of the spiritual world by your understanding. But I had already spoken in the first time through the mouth of my prophets and in the second through my apostles. 50. Today I am again among you. I have come to pick up the forgotten sheet of the doctrine that I once brought you. 51. I come to remind you of my last lesson and to teach you to interpret it. 52. I am the book, which I have opened at this time in its 6th chapter, to reveal to humanity one more lesson of the wisdom that he must possess to be worthily called children of the light. 53. Only by understanding the content of this message can you say with integrity to the world that it was my voice that you heard, that it was my word that taught you, that the light that you saw was the one that radiated the sixth seal. 54. Time by time and stage by stage, I have been showing myself more and more before your spirit. Could children love your father if you didn't know him? Understand why I show you my love. I make you feel my presence and I make you hear my voice. 55. Until now, your impulse to seek me to find truth, peace, elevation has not been spontaneous. 56. You have had to penetrate into the great spiritual desert to know thirst, loneliness, needs, vicissitudes, hunger, weakness. It was then that you got up in search of the water that gives life, in search of the oasis, in pursuit of some trace that will take you to lands of peace. 57. How many lessons has the desert of your life revealed to you? How much you have learned in the fight, and how much you have strengthened in pain. Tomorrow, when you have entered the promised land of the Spirit and the doors of the New Jerusalem open to receive you in its bosom of peace, you will bless the time of your restitution, which was that of your journey through the vast desert of trials and purification. 58. Moses sustained his people spiritually through the wilderness, and Joshua led the multitudes into the land of promise, land that was only a symbol or image of the eternal and true mansion that has been promised to your spirit. 59. Now it is Elijah, who invisibly marches in front of the people, 100 times multiplied, to take you step by step through the desert path to the end of your pilgrimage that will be the mansion of the just, of spirits full of true love and true wisdom. 60. Do you know what will bring you closer to that promised kingdom? Your works of love, charity, and humility. 61. Now my people do not know each other who he is, or where he is, or what he is going to do, but when they appear throughout the spiritualist world, preaching with words and giving testimony with their works of light that my doctrine inspires in them, all will identify, recognize, and finally unite, thus forming the new people of Israel, which will be the bulwark of spirituality and the true interpreter of the Father's law. 62. With my light I come to mark all those who follow me at this time. My light will descend from spirit to spirit. 63. In the second area was my blood of my sacrifice, which was shed in the hearts to enlighten the spirits. 64. In the first era, the symbolic act of marking the home door with the blood of an innocent lamb was the mandate of the Father for that people, whom from that moment he put on the path of divine revelations. 65. In the 3 eras, the Lord has designated in a certain way those who are to follow him. Although I tell you that always the seal of my love is indelibly imprinted on every spirit. 66. Hear and meditate on my lesson, disciples who have had the grace to listen to me at this time, because later you will have to explain my teachings to humanity. 67. Do not believe that my word through the human spokesperson has to be heard in all nations, no disciples. The moment is coming to silence my communication through these channels, but a people will remain as a witness, through whose works and words humanity will hear me. This testimony and that explanation that you give of my doctrine will be the preparation that men receive to initiate communication from spirit to spirit. 68. See many people in this time searching the scriptures of the past times, meditating on the prophets, and trying to penetrate into the promises that Christ made to return. 69. Hear them say, "The Master is near. The Lord is already here, or he is not long in coming." And they add, "The signs of his return are clear and palpable." 70. Some seek me and call me, others feel my presence, still others sense my coming in spirit. 71. If in everyone were already with thirst for knowledge, if everyone had that longing to know the supreme truth. 72. Many are unaware that I have come into the world, that I am communicating with men through human understanding, and if they do not know that I have been with you, less will they be able to know that the departure of my word is near. 73. But I tell you again, that this people will come out of the darkness into the light to give testimony of my coming. 74. Today I do not want humanity to discover this people yet, because their small and imperfect works, instead to raise faith in men, would be before them the negation of the spirituality that my doctrine proclaims. 75. How would the world judge you if it saw your ingratitude? How would those hungry and thirsty for the Spirit be if they looked at your negligence and selfishness? But I still trust you, and I continue to give you my teaching. 76. Days will come when emissaries, missionaries, and apostles will rise from this people, sowing this seed in towns, regions, villages, cities, and nations, and in them I will reveal the good disciple of Christ. 77. Strong men of spirit will be those who bear the testimony of my truth. Nothing can stop them on the way, and through them I will give great tests of my power. 78. Before the testimony of love of one of my workers, men of faith will rise up spreading my message, walking to other lands to bring the light, and they too will conquer hearts and peoples with their faith, love, and spirituality. 79. The fight will be great, intense, but fruitful, because the land is fertile at this time. Before, stones will be removed so that when the seed reaches it, it is ready. 80. I tell you this, people, because before you get up with your testimony, you will have to contemplate the war of ideas, the struggle between religions, the struggle between doctrines. My justice will be there, and then you will listen in the midst of so much confusion to those who ask, where is the truth? Where is the light? 81. Those anguishing questions will be the ones that mark the opportune moment of your arrival, people. 82. You will arrive clothed with humility, full of knowledge to answer any question, full of confidence in the triumph of truth, not thinking about saving your life or getting ahead in difficult times, but thinking only in the hearts that my doctrine wins with your words and works of love. 83. Do not fear for your life, disciples, because I must tell you that at this time it will not be with your life or with your blood that you give humanity the best testimony of my truth. 84. Times pass, customs change, men evolve. Now they will ask you for love, sincerity, and charity as tests to believe in the truth of the doctrine that you are going to preach. 85. The times when only giving life or sealing with blood the spoken word was believed have passed, for which I tell you that more than preparing to die sacrificed for those who persecute you, prepare yourself to bear witness to the truth with your life in works, words, and examples. 86. This people has been walking for a long time under my divine charity, animated by the essence of my word, advancing step by step on the path, and the Master, seeing that his disciples cannot yet be the masters, has hidden them with his mantle of charity from prying eyes, telling them, come close to me, learn my lesson so that your faults, left here, next to my Father's heart ennoble and purify your feelings, and you can love your brothers with clarity. 87. Yes, people do not want the world to correct or wake you up, because when men become judges, they are cruel, inhumane, and inflexible. 88. Piety and mercy are not with men. What justice can you expect from your brothers? You only have to prepare yourselves in truth and in spirit, and trust in me, in your Lord, in whom there is mercy and therefore justice. 89. See how I prepare you for after this time of my communication through the understanding of man, because it will be when you go your own step towards the fullness of the third era. It will be when you approach the perfect communication between my spirit and yours, communication that humanity has not reached. It will not be the voice that Moses heard on the mount, a voice materialized in the noise of thunder. Neither will it be the humanized voice they heard through Jesus, nor the way you now have, listening to me through a man in ecstasy, because it will also soon pass, as did those forms or means that I used in other times to speak to my children. 90. Now comes to you direct communication with your Father, when your spirit has learned to detach yourself from your matter, when you already know and interpret the divine language, when your heart is truly a sanctuary where there is pure, simple, and elevated worship towards God. 91. People. This grace of communicating from spirit to spirit will not be yours alone. It is necessary that you understand that it is about a gift that belongs to the Spirit, which, developed, brings man closer to God, putting him in communication with what is spiritual. Today that communication still seems difficult or impossible. But truly I tell you that when you have achieved the preparation that spirituality gives, you will see how the way to communicate with the Father and with the spiritual world is the most simple and the easiest of how many you have practiced. 92. Communication from spirit to spirit has a broad meaning, infinite. Within it is the development of all your powers and of all your gifts. 93. In it you will find the book of eternal wisdom. In prayer you will feel enlightened by great inspirations. Intuition will be a compass in your life, and the healing balm will reach your hands directly from the hereafter. All the gifts, dormant until now, will awaken from their slumber and will flourish in the heart of man. Yes, when spirituality is a reality among you, your hand will be able to be like that of my Apostle John, and you will write in the hour of your inspiration everything that the divine voice dictates to you through the consciousness. In that message you will receive everything that the spokesperson in his smallness has not been able to transmit. As well you will feel the clear and luminous prophecy come to your mind, to point the path to the generations that will come to those who begin the time of spirituality. 94. When these times come and you find yourself speaking to large crowds, don't say you are speaking under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. You will let men discover the truth at the bottom of that inspiration. 95. Remember when I spoke to the crowds, there was no lack of someone, amazed at the wisdom of my word or the justice of my works, approached me to ask, "Are you the Son of God? Are you the Messiah?" To which I simply answered, "You said so." 96. My communication, if you analyze it thoroughly, will not cease in 1950, but will continue, because the Word of God is eternal and has never ceased to enlighten His children. But this form of communication through a human spokesperson, it will cease to be at the time set by my will, to make way for the time when I will have to communicate through your consciousness. 97. Nobody say that I am going to be absent, nor believe that the spiritual world that has manifested itself among these people will rest, because you would be very far from the truth. Know from now on, and have faith in what I tell you, that it will be in the days when you no longer hear this word, when you begin to feel the presence of the Master within you, when you understand the preparation that you must conserve to make yourself worthy of some grace, and when you look for a way not to get away from those blessed beings that are like lighthouses or stars that illuminate the path of your life. 98. I promise you that in each of your meetings I will give you proof of my presence, provided that you also give me proof of your elevation. 99. Watch, people. For among you also, among this people, the unprepared will rise up as false prophets. Those who have failed to penetrate to the bottom of my word, saying that it is communicated from spirit to spirit, and that the Father orders this or the Master orders that, not being true. 100. Watch, disciples. None of those who hear these words are going to fall into such errors, nor are you going to allow your heart to lie or blind someone in vanity. I have taught everyone to distinguish the good fruit from the bad, distinguish the truth from the imposture. 101. Go giving to your brothers what you are achieving thanks to your evolution and your merits, but never try to give what you have not yet achieved. 102. I tell you that those who prophesy falsely, who lie to become great among their brothers or feel prophets without being, they will later be singled out by the crowds, and many tears will have to be shed to reintegrate among the jealous and lovers of the truth. 103. Stay alert, I tell you people, because dangerous times for you will approach. 104. You will also be scrutinized by your brothers, who will find your practices strange, and after they observe you, they will judge you because you do not have an altar, because you do not have images or symbols, ceremonies or rites. But do not fear, beloved people. You will speak saying that your worship is spiritual, that you are building the sanctuary or temple in your heart, that the offering is all that work that you carry out in life, and that your conscience tells you if it is worthy of offering it to God, and that your prayer is from spirit to spirit. 105. If you speak clearly, you will engross your skeptics, and they will leave you alone, understanding that you have spoken a truth and that there is no error where to attack you. 106. Those who defend my doctrine in this way will be called disciples of spiritualism, because with their works they will be confirming your words. They will not be one of those who say one thing and contradict it with their works. I contemplate many who call themselves spiritualists, and who spend their lives worshiping objects that they call symbols. What will they think of the men who discover such a contradiction? I am still giving you time to reflect, so to refine your practices and regenerate your life. Some will be docile to my call, others will be rebellious because their fanaticism has blinded. 107. I will bless those who turn from their mistakes to come down the path of spirituality. I will bless those who renounce your idols and those who, having danced around the golden calf, leave their materiality and take up the cross of spirituality. 108. O people, your master tells you, watch over the innocence of your children, pray for the children. I don't want those generations to inherit remnants of your past fanaticism. Be his teachers, see that the Spirit has not yet revealed their mission to the flesh, because it expects you to first guide them along the path of light. What do you mean by that, teacher? That you, parents, have the duty to form the heart of your children, to serve as a foundation for the works of the Spirit. 109. Your tenderness and your intelligence to guide them, your wisdom to guide and correct them, your love to soften their passions. They will be the chisel that polishes and shapes the moral and intellectual part of those generations. 110. Your best and richest inheritance for your children will be that which allows them to form a strong people, a family united, healthy, fraternal, and useful to all. But, for that to be, strive to leave them a beautiful example, loving each other. My peace be with you.